My brothers and sisters, let me speak to your heart honestly. There are people in your life who smile when they need you, who remember your name when they are desperate, who praise your kindness when it benefits them, and the moment their need is fulfilled, they disappear as if you never existed. This hurts, not because you lost them, but because you slowly realize you were never loved for who you were, only for what you provided. And this is where many people get confused. They fear being alone, so they tolerate being used. But wallahi, there is a pain that cleans you and a pain that destroys you. Being alone can heal you. Being used will empty you. And not everyone who comes close has pure intentions. My brothers and sisters, understand this clearly and understand it without fear or hesitation. Not everyone who enters your life comes with sincerity. Some people come with needs they don't want to admit, with emptiness they refuse to fix, with expectations they quietly place on your shoulders. They do not announce this. They don't say, I am here to take. They come gently, they come politely, they come with compliments, smiles and familiarity. And because you are kind, because you are patient, because you are sincere, you open your heart before checking their hands. They observe you first. They notice that you are the one who listens, the one who responds, the one who helps without being asked, the one who forgives quickly, the one who stays silent to keep peace. And in that moment, something dangerous happens. What Allah gave you as good character, they see as an opportunity. Your mercy becomes their shortcut. Your patience becomes their permission. Islam teaches us husn al-dhan, to think well of people, but Islam never taught us to surrender our awareness. There is a difference, my brothers and sisters, between having a good heart and having no boundaries. A good heart is guided by wisdom. Blind trust is not faith, it is neglect. Even the Prophet ﷺ was cautious with people. Even he distinguished between sincerity and hypocrisy. So do not shame yourself for being careful. Do not feel guilty for being observant. Awareness is not arrogance. It is protection. Some people only come close when they want something: advice, support, money, emotional labor, validation, access. The moment their need is fulfilled, they grow distant. Their replies slow down, their concern disappears, their warmth fades. And if you are honest with yourself, you will realize this didn't happen once, it happened repeatedly. And that is where you must stop making excuses. We often say, maybe they're busy, maybe they didn't mean it, maybe I'm overthinking. No, patterns do not lie. People may lie, situations may confuse, but patterns are honest. When someone consistently shows up empty-handed and leaves full, that is not coincidence, that is character. And character does not change because you hope harder. Understand this difficult truth. Some people are not interested in you as a person. They are interested in the role you play in their life. Once that role is fulfilled, your presence becomes optional. That hurts because you were real with them. You were sincere. You were present even when you gained nothing. And now you realize the relationship was never equal. It was transactional, but only on one side. Being kind does not mean allowing yourself to be drained. Being generous does not mean emptying yourself to keep others full. Islam teaches balance. Give, but do not destroy yourself in the process. Help, but do not replace Allah in someone else's life. When you become the solution to everyone's problems, you quietly become absent from your own. Some people will test how much they can take. They start small, a favor, a request, an emotional unloading, and if you never say no, they increase the weight. Not because they are evil, but because human nature pushes limits when there are none. This is why boundaries are not cruelty. Boundaries are clarity. They tell people how to treat you without you having to beg for respect. My brothers and sisters, sincerity is revealed in consistency, not convenience. Someone with pure intentions checks on you when they don't need anything. They care about your well-being, not just your availability. They respect your time. They notice when you are tired. They don't disappear when you are no longer useful. This is not perfection. This is basic sincerity. And here is the part many people avoid admitting. Sometimes we allow ourselves to be used because we fear being alone. We tolerate imbalance because we think at least someone is here. But what kind of presence is that? A presence that only exists when it benefits them is not companionship. It is exploitation with a smile. Islam never asked you to destroy yourself to prove your goodness. Allah knows your intentions even when people misuse them. Your reward is not dependent on how much you suffer for others. Your reward is in obedience, wisdom, and self-respect. When you walk away from those who repeatedly take without giving, you are not becoming cold. You are becoming honest. Do not be afraid to step back and observe. Do not be afraid to reduce access. Do not be afraid to say, this pattern is harming me. People with pure intentions will understand. People with selfish intentions will react badly, and that reaction will confirm everything you needed to know. Remember this, and remember it deeply. Not everyone deserves the same level of closeness. Not everyone earns access to your heart, your time, your energy. Proximity is a privilege, not a right. And when you begin to treat it that way, you stop being an easy target for those who only come close when they need something. 2. Being needed is not the same as being valued. My brothers and sisters, this is one of the most painful truths to accept, but it is also one of the most freeing. Being needed is not the same as being valued. Many people spend years confusing the two, and in that confusion, they lose their peace, their energy, and sometimes even their self-respect. When someone needs you, it can feel good at first. You feel important, you feel useful, you feel relevant. They call you when they are stressed. They message you when things fall apart. They rely on you to fix, to listen, to carry, to reassure, and slowly, without realizing it, you begin to tie your worth to how much you are needed. This is where the danger begins. Being needed means you serve a purpose. Being valued means you matter even when you serve no purpose at all. A person who values you checks on you even when everything is fine. They care about your heart, not just your help. They don't only remember you in moments of crisis. They don't disappear when your usefulness ends. Their respect for you is not conditional on what you provide. But when someone only needs you, their presence is temporary. Once the problem is solved, once the favor is done, once the emotional weight is unloaded, they move on, and you are left behind wondering why the connection suddenly feels empty. This is why many kind people feel exhausted and confused. They say, I give so much, but I feel so alone. The reason is simple. You were useful, but you were not valued. And usefulness without value is draining. My brothers and sisters, Islam does not teach us to measure our worth by how indispensable we are to people. Our worth comes from Allah. You were valuable before anyone needed you. You were honored before anyone asked you for help. And you will remain valuable even when you stop giving. Ask yourself this honest question, even if it hurts. If I stopped helping, stopped answering immediately, stopped fixing everyone's problems, would these people still stay? Would they still call? Would they still care? If the answer makes you uncomfortable, it is because the truth is knocking on your heart. Many people stay in these one-sided relationships because they fear rejection. They think, if I stop being useful, I will be forgotten. And sadly, sometimes that fear comes true. But understand this clearly. Anyone who only stays because you are useful was never meant to stay anyway. Allah does not remove people from your life to punish you. Sometimes He removes them to protect you. Being needed can become a trap. It can inflate your ego or drain your soul. You start saying yes when you should say no. You ignore your own limits. You silence your exhaustion. You feel guilty for resting. And over time, resentment grows. You don't become bitter because you are ungrateful. You become bitter because you gave more than you were meant to give. Islam teaches balance. Give but don't break. Help but don't erase yourself. Support others but don't abandon your own well-being. The Prophet ﷺ taught us that the body has rights, the soul has rights, the family has rights. You cannot sacrifice all of that just to feel needed by people who would not do the same for you. Another sign you are needed but not valued is this. When you express your limits, they react negatively. They become upset when you say no. They pressure you. They make you feel guilty. They remind you of what you've done before, as if your past kindness is a contract you signed forever. This is not appreciation, this is entitlement. People who value you respect your boundaries. They don't demand access. They don't punish you for taking care of yourself. They don't make your kindness feel like an obligation. My brothers and sisters, being valued feels calm, being needed feels urgent, being valued feels safe, being needed feels stressful. When you are valued, you are allowed to rest. When you are only needed, you are only allowed to serve. And here is a hard truth many people don't want to hear. Some people don't actually want you, they want what you give. Once that stops, their interest fades. This is not because you failed, it is because the relationship was never built on mutual care. Do not let this make you cold. Let it make you wise. Continue to be kind, but be selective. Continue to give, but with intention. Continue to love, but with boundaries. Your heart is not a public resource. Your energy is not unlimited. Your time is not free for everyone. Allah sees when you give sincerely. Allah sees when you are taken for granted. And Allah is Al-Adl, the most just. Nothing you gave for His sake is ever lost, even if people misuse it. So remember this lesson well. Being needed can make you feel important for a moment, but being valued brings peace that lasts. Choose peace over validation. Choose dignity over dependency. And never forget that your worth was never meant to be proven by how much you are needed by others. 3. Allah never designed you to be everyone's solution. My brothers and sisters, this lesson is heavy, but it is necessary. Allah never created you to be everyone's solution. You were not sent into this world to fix every broken person, to carry every burden, or to rescue everyone who refuses to help themselves. Yet many good-hearted people slowly fall into this trap, not because they are arrogant, but because they are compassionate. You see someone struggling, and your heart moves. You see someone falling, and you extend your hand. You see someone drowning emotionally, financially, spiritually, and you jump in without checking how deep the water is. At first it feels noble, it feels like reward, it feels like you are doing good. But over time, something dangerous happens. You begin to replace Allah in roles you were never meant to play. There is a difference between helping someone and becoming their lifeline. Islam encourages support, mercy, and cooperation in goodness. But Islam never teaches self-destruction. Allah is Ar-Razzaq, Allah is Al-Fattah, Allah is Ash-Shafi, Allah is Al-Wakil. When people begin to rely on you instead of Allah, something is wrong, even if your intentions are pure. Many people unconsciously make themselves indispensable. They answer every call. They solve every crisis. They give advice even when it's ignored. They lend even when repayment never comes. They listen even when they themselves are exhausted. And slowly people stop turning to Allah first. They turn to you. This is not a compliment, it is a burden. When you become everyone's solution, you quietly abandon your own responsibilities. Your own healing is delayed. Your own growth is postponed. Your own connection with Allah weakens because you are too busy carrying others to stand properly yourself. And here is the harsh truth. People who lean on you excessively are often not grateful. Why? Because dependency breeds entitlement. The more you do, the more they expect. The more you sacrifice, the more they assume it is normal. And when you finally step back, even slightly, they accuse you of changing. They say you're not the same anymore. No, you are finally becoming balanced. My brothers and sisters, Allah created human beings weak by nature. We need Him. We were designed to turn to Him in hardship. When you allow someone to bypass that process and lean fully on you, you rob them of growth and you rob yourself of peace. Think carefully about this. When someone keeps coming to you with the same problem year after year, but never changes, never takes responsibility, never acts on advice, what is really happening? They are not seeking solutions. They are seeking relief without effort, and you are paying the price. Helping someone should empower them, not trap you. The Prophet ﷺ taught us wisdom in assistance. He did not encourage dependence. He encouraged strength, accountability, and tawakkul upon Allah. Even when giving charity, Islam teaches dignity, not humiliation, and balance, not excess. Some people don't want guidance, they want rescue. Some people don't want growth, they want comfort. Some people don't want to change, they want someone else to carry the consequences. And if you are not careful, you become that person. There is also another danger here, one that many sincere believers don't want to admit. Sometimes being needed feeds the ego. You feel important, you feel relied upon, you feel irreplaceable. And slowly, without realizing it, your intention shifts from helping for Allah to being needed by people. This is subtle, this is dangerous, and this is why even good deeds require self-checking. Ask yourself honestly, if Allah removed this person's dependence on me, would I feel relieved or threatened? If the answer is threatened, then something needs correction. Allah does not want you burned out, resentful and spiritually drained. He wants you balanced, sincere and connected to Him. You cannot pour endlessly from an empty cup and call it righteousness. There is a reason Allah says He does not burden a soul beyond what it can bear. But many people burden themselves beyond what Allah asked of them, and then they call it patience. This is not patience, this is neglecting wisdom. My brothers and sisters, you are allowed to step back. You are allowed to say, I cannot do this for you. You are allowed to redirect people to Allah. You are allowed to protect your energy. This does not make you selfish, it makes you responsible. When you stop being everyone's solution, something interesting happens. Some people disappear, others grow, and a few will finally turn to Allah. All three outcomes are good. Those who disappear were only attached to what you provided. Those who grow were never meant to depend on you forever. And those who turn to Allah finally find the source they were avoiding. Remember this deeply. Allah is sufficient. You are not meant to be. Your role is to help when you can, within limits, with sincerity and with wisdom. Your role is not to carry what Allah never placed on your shoulders. When you understand this lesson, guilt leaves your heart, resentment fades, and peace begins to return. And that peace is a sign that you are finally standing in the place Allah designed for you, not as everyone's solution, but as a servant who knows his limits and trusts his Lord. 4. Boundaries reveal true character. My brothers and sisters, one of the clearest ways Allah allows you to see people for who they truly are is through boundaries. Not arguments, not explanations, not confrontations, boundaries. The moment you place a limit, the moment you say no, the moment you step back even slightly, people reveal themselves without saying a word. As long as you are available, giving, forgiving, fixing and sacrificing, many people appear kind, appreciative and loyal. Everything seems fine. But understand this clearly, that version of them exists because there is no resistance, there is no restriction, there is no cost to them. The test comes when access is reduced. When you begin to protect your time, your energy, your emotions, something changes. Some people understand, they adjust, they respect you more. These are people with sincerity. But others react with anger, guilt-tripping, silence or manipulation. And this reaction is not about you, it is about what they lost. Boundaries do not create problems, they expose them. Many people think that setting boundaries is rude, harsh or un-Islamic. This is false. Islam teaches justice, and justice includes justice toward yourself. You are not commanded to be endlessly available. You are not commanded to accept harm. You are not commanded to tolerate exploitation in the name of patience. There is a difference between patience and self-erasure. Patience is remaining firm in obedience while trusting Allah. Self-erasure is allowing others to harm you repeatedly while calling it virtue. When someone becomes upset because you said no, it tells you something important. It tells you that your presence was benefiting them more than it was benefiting you. When someone punishes you emotionally for setting a boundary, it tells you that they were comfortable with your silence, not your well-being. Pay attention to how people respond when you stop overgiving. Do they respect your limits or do they pressure you? Do they ask how you are or do they accuse you of changing? Do they care about your capacity or only their convenience? These responses are not random. They are revelations. My brothers and sisters, healthy people do not fear boundaries. Only those who benefit from your lack of boundaries feel threatened by them. This is why manipulators often label boundaries as selfishness. They know that if you begin to protect yourself, their control weakens. And here is the painful part. Sometimes the people who react the worst are the ones closest to you. Friends, relatives, even family. This is where many believers struggle. They think, but they are family, I must tolerate everything. No, Islam does not demand that you accept injustice just because it comes from familiar hands. Respect is not optional because of blood. Abuse does not become acceptable because of relationship. And boundaries do not cancel kindness. You can be respectful without being accessible. You can be loving without being available. You can be dutiful without being depleted. When you place boundaries, you may feel guilty at first. This guilt does not mean you are wrong. It means you are unfamiliar with protecting yourself. You are used to sacrificing, not safeguarding. Over time, that guilt fades and clarity replaces it. Another important truth, you do not owe everyone an explanation. Many people believe that if they just explain themselves enough, others will understand. But people who benefit from misunderstanding you are not confused. They are invested in things staying the same. Explanation invite débat. Boundaries end conversations. You don't need to justify your limits to people who disrespect them. You simply need to maintain them consistently. Consistency is what teaches people how to treat you. My brothers and sisters, when you set boundaries, some people will leave. Let them. Their departure is information. It tells you they were attached to access, not to you. Others will stay and adapt. These are the relationships worth keeping. Boundaries do not isolate you from good people. They isolate you from people who misuse you. And here is something many don't realize. Boundaries also protect your heart from resentment. When you say yes out of guilt, bitterness grows. When you give out of pressure, love fades. When you stay silent to keep peace, anger accumulates. Boundaries stop this poison before it spreads. Allah does not want you resentful and broken. He wants you sincere and whole. The Prophet ﷺ was kind, but he was not weak. He was merciful, but he was not careless. He knew when to engage and when to step back. He did not allow people to misuse him, and neither should you. My brothers and sisters, boundaries are not walls meant to isolate you. They are doors meant to control access. You decide who enters, how close they come, and what behavior is acceptable. When you begin to live this way, something powerful happens. You stop chasing approval. You stop fearing loss. You stop shrinking to keep others comfortable. And in that strength, Allah places tranquility in your heart. So remember this lesson well. When you place boundaries, you are not pushing people away. You are inviting sincerity to stay and exposing false intentions to leave. And that clarity, even when painful, is a mercy from Allah. 5. Solitude with Allah is better than company that drains you. My brothers and sisters, many people fear being alone more than they fear being harmed. They stay in unhealthy company, tolerate disrespect, and accept emotional exhaustion simply because the idea of solitude scares them. But Islam teaches us something very different. Solitude with Allah is not emptiness, it is protection, it is clarity, and for many people, it is the beginning of healing. There is a deep misunderstanding in today's world. People think being alone means being abandoned, forgotten, or unloved. But loneliness is not the absence of people. Loneliness is the absence of sincerity. You can sit in a room full of people and feel completely unseen. You can be surrounded by family, friends, conversations, and noise and still feel empty inside. That emptiness does not come from being alone. It comes from being with people who drain you instead of nourishing you. When someone drains you, it is rarely obvious at first. They may not insult you, they may not openly harm you. Instead, they take quietly. They unload their stress on you. They rely on your emotional strength. They expect your availability, and over time you begin to feel tired in their presence. Your heart feels heavy after interactions. Your peace disappears without you understanding why. This is a sign. Allah did not create relationships to break you. He created them to bring tranquility. When a relationship consistently leaves you spiritually tired, emotionally depleted, and mentally exhausted, it is not a blessing. And staying in it out of fear is not patience. It is self-neglect. My brothers and sisters, solitude with Allah has always been a place of strength for the believers. The Prophet ﷺ would withdraw to the cave of Hira, away from people, away from noise, to reconnect with his Lord. Many of the righteous found clarity in moments of isolation, where their hearts were no longer influenced by the expectations, demands, and pressures of others. Solitude allows you to hear your own thoughts again. It allows you to feel your own heart again. It allows you to rebuild your connection with Allah without interference. When you are constantly surrounded by people who need you, you slowly lose yourself. Your identity becomes what you provide, not who you are. Your worth becomes tied to usefulness, not iman. And this is dangerous for the soul. Being alone with Allah teaches you something powerful. You are enough with Him. You don't need constant validation. You don't need constant approval. You don't need to exhaust yourself to feel worthy. Allah sees you in silence just as clearly as He sees you in service. Many people avoid solitude because it forces them to face truths they have been avoiding. In silence, you realize how much you tolerated. In quiet moments, you see where you compromised yourself. And this can be uncomfortable, but discomfort that leads to awareness is better than comfort that leads to loss. When you step away from draining company, at first it feels strange. The noise is gone, the messages slow down, the demands disappear, and you may feel guilty, you may feel selfish, you may feel like you are abandoning others. But slowly something shifts. Your sleep improves, your dua becomes more sincere, your heart feels lighter, and you begin to breathe again. This is not coincidence. This is your soul recovering. My brothers and sisters, Allah never asked you to sacrifice your iman for companionship. He never asked you to destroy your peace to keep others comfortable. He never asked you to stay where your heart is constantly wounded. Islam values companionship, but it values righteousness more. There is a reason the Prophet ﷺ warned us about the company we keep. A person is upon the religion of their close friend. If the people around you normalize imbalance, disrespect, and emotional exploitation, you will slowly accept it too. But when you step into solitude with Allah, your standards rise again. Your self-respect returns. Your sense of right and wrong becomes clearer. Some people say, but what if I end up alone forever? My brothers and sisters, you are never alone when Allah is with you. And anyone who fears solitude more than injustice has not yet tasted the sweetness of reliance on Allah. Solitude does not mean cutting off everyone. It means choosing carefully. It means stepping back from those who drain you so that you have energy for those who deserve you. It means protecting your heart so it can give sincerely, not resentfully. And here is a beautiful truth. When you choose solitude with Allah over company that drains you, Allah often replaces what you lost with something better. Better people, healthier relationships, deeper peace, or sometimes simply contentment. And contentment is a treasure many people chase their whole lives and never find. My brothers and sisters, do not rush to fill silence with people. Do not fear quiet moments. Do not panic when some relationships fall away. What leaves your life to protect your iman was never meant to stay. Choose solitude when company costs you your peace. Choose silence when words are used against you. Choose Allah when people become a burden. Because in the end, a heart that is calm with Allah is richer than a heart that is surrounded by people yet constantly wounded. 6. People who use you fear your independence. My brothers and sisters, this lesson is subtle, but once you see it, you can never unsee it. People who benefit from you being dependent, available, and overgiving are deeply uncomfortable when you become independent, not because independence is wrong, but because it removes their advantage. As long as you are always there, always explaining, always fixing, always sacrificing, everything feels normal to them. Your presence is predictable, your help is guaranteed, your silence is expected. But the moment you begin to change, the moment you stop chasing, stop overgiving, stop apologizing for existing, the reaction comes quickly. They say, you've changed. They say, you're not the same anymore. They say, you've become distant. Listen carefully. These statements are not observations, they are complaints. And what they are really saying is, you are no longer convenient for me. Independence threatens those who rely on your weakness. When you begin to stand on your own, emotionally and spiritually, you no longer need their approval. You no longer panic at the thought of being alone. You no longer rush to prove your worth. And that scares people who benefited from your insecurity. My brothers and sisters, control often hides behind affection. Some people don't dominate you openly, they dominate you through guilt, obligation, and emotional dependence. friends. They make you feel responsible for their happiness, their stability, their problems, and as long as you accept this role, they feel comfortable. But independence breaks this dynamic. When you become emotionally independent, you stop reacting, you stop explaining yourself repeatedly, you stop chasing people who pull away, you stop measuring your worth by how much you are needed. And when that happens, people who used you feel exposed. They can no longer manipulate you with silence, urgency, or emotional pressure. This is why some people become angry when you set boundaries. This is why some people accuse you of being selfish when you protect your time. This is why some people try to pull you back by reminding you of the old you. The old you was easier to access, easier to use, easier to control. Islam teaches strength with humility, tawakkul with responsibility, dependence on Allah, not on people. When your heart shifts from people to Allah, you become free. And freedom is threatening to those who were comfortable with your captivity. There is also something important you must understand. People who use you often don't want you to grow. Your growth makes them uncomfortable because it forces them to face their own stagnation. When you become stronger, more self-aware, more spiritually grounded, your presence becomes a mirror, and not everyone likes what they see. So they criticize, they minimize your progress. They question your intentions. They try to pull you back into old patterns. This is not concern, this is resistance. My brothers and sisters, independence does not mean arrogance. It does not mean cutting off the world. It means no longer being emotionally owned by others. It means being able to walk away without fear. It means knowing that your peace does not depend on someone else's presence. People who value you will celebrate this growth. They will respect your boundaries. They will adjust to your new standards. They will not feel threatened by your strength. But people who benefited from your weakness will resist it because it costs them something. And here is the painful part. Sometimes the people who fear your independence are those closest to you, friends who relied on you, relatives who expected you to carry burdens, even family members who were comfortable with you being the strong one while they avoided responsibility. This does not make them evil, but it does mean you must be careful. You are not obligated to stay small to keep others comfortable. You are not obligated to stay weak to preserve relationships. You are not obligated to sacrifice your growth to protect someone else's convenience. When you stop explaining yourself, you will lose some people. When you stop chasing, you will be misunderstood. When you stop overgiving, you will be accused. Let that happen. Your job is not to be understood by everyone. Your job is to be sincere with Allah. Independence also teaches you patience. You learn to sit with silence. You learn not to react emotionally. You learn to observe instead of engaging in every conflict. This calmness often unsettles people who relied on your reactions. They no longer know how to pull you back in. My brothers and sisters, remember this. Anyone who truly cares about you wants you strong, not dependent. They want you grounded, not anxious. They want you close to Allah, not exhausted by people. When you feel resistance as you grow, do not panic. Resistance is often confirmation that you are changing in the right direction. Shaitan does not fight what he already controls. People who benefit from your weakness do not celebrate your strength. So